in the morning about, what would it be, 8 o'clock, we were eating our breakfast when it happened. We were one on Merciful Crack. We were eating our breakfast, and Bob Turner stayed here that night, and we were having breakfast in the old house. And we were sitting around the table when this unmerciful crack come and just about lift you off the chair. And it wasn't only a minute or two till our phone rang. And McKay's barn was on fire. So I grabbed the coat, and it was me that answered the phone. I grabbed the coat and a cap and grabbed the fire extinguisher. It was not far from where my coat was. And away I went, and Bob Turner and my father, they came too. And Oding was across the road, and Huddy's and McDonald's and McMillan's, and from over here, Oliver's and Turner's and them. I think Sadie's father was there too, and that, but it took them a while to get there. But I was there in time, and I guess Bob and the father was there in time to help get some of the cattle out and that. But you didn't have not too long to get them out. You had to get them out as quick as you could. But if I'd had another, I figured if I had another extinguisher, the size of that, why, I'd have pretty well had it out.
Well, not all farmers had one.
No.
But you knew your neighbors in those days.
Oh, yes, you knew them all. Everybody. All the way down the line. Then he went after that, after seeding, they went and they bought this barn and they started to move it. Take it down and take timber up. Well, I guess after seeding, I didn't finish seeding, I took pneumonia. I guess I got overdone a bit at the fire, and then seeding, and we worked fairly hard to get it done. And I didn't get the last field quite all sowed, and my uncle had to finish it. Well, then I was in bed for 3 weeks with pneumonia. And then after that, I got out. I drew timber after that from the barn down here for McKay's barn, and was it put up before haying? I think it was. Was it before haying? Must have been before haying they put it up. And put the hay in the barn, I think. You were there at the raising.
Oh, the barn raising.
Yeah, barn raising.
What went on at those?
Oh, a pile of men. All the men you could find. All the men you could find.
Came from miles.
Yeah, come for miles. And those days, it wasn't done with block and tackle like they were later. That was done just by arm strength. Manpower is what the raised did. Put the bents together and put them up with pike poles and one thing another. And then for the purline plates, they pushed them up, and men got up on the beams. And then...
And we're not talking little beams here.
No, you're not. They're not little beams. A lot of them happened to be dry. They happened to be out of this other barn. But some of them was cut out of their own bush, and they weren't so light. They were green, but they got them up, and that. A lot of them were girts, that they were short ones, and they got them out of their own bush when they didn't have to lift them so high either. And they didn't get it all up the first day, and the second day there wasn't as many men there, and they had the purlines to put up. One end.
Purlines.
Oh, the ones across the top of under the roof, up in the halfway up.
Oh.
Halfway up on the roof, they call them purline plates. And it was a hip roof barn. Down here it was. And the last day there wasn't as many men, and Big Dan McDowell. You know of Big Dan?
Yes, my ancestor.
Yep, that's right. And he was up on the one at the barn floor. It was just a piece hanging out over this post, and he was up on there, and he was the only man there. And there was quite a few along the way with the pike poles. And there wasn't Dan had got his chunk up quite a piece first, and the men, they wasn't able to put shove her up. So there was a bunch of women sitting on the fence, and they yelled at them to give them a hand, and the women jumped off the fence, helped them push the furline up, and then they got ahead of Dan, and by God, Dan had to get help. They nearly squeezed him through the timber. God, he must have had an awful lift. That man standing up there with that thing on his shoulder. And the others, you see, once they got the other end ahead, he had the weight. And he had to get help then, and they got it up too. But that man, he must have lifted an awful pile there. That day I can see him yet. You
But you couldn't have done it without the women.
Not that day you wouldn't have got it up. No, there was a bunch of women sitting on the fence.
Watching.
Watching.
Well, that was just in between jobs that they had to do.
That's right. They were just out watching. I guess they were have the meal to get it.
Yes.
And supper time, I guess.
Yes.
But they were there at this time, and they were there just in time, and they got a hold of a pole with some of the men, and a little bit of a few extra pounds.
Yes.
Surprising what it done. But they got it up.
Was there a party afterwards, or?
I ain't too sure whether I think maybe there was. Not too sure about that. It was pretty busy at that time, and it was just coming haying time, and that. And I think it was up, and they had I think to put the hay in it.
Before they had a dance in it.
Oh yes, they didn't have a dance in the barn. They had a dance in the house, though.
In the house.
Yeah, they had a dance in the house. No, they wasn't able to dance. It was barn floor that was taken up out of another floor. It wasn't good enough to dance on. It was all right for what it was meant for. It would hold feed and such like that, but it wasn't smooth enough for that. It wasn't new flooring or anything. You see, it was stuff that was taken off another floor. But there was a lot of teams. It was all done by teams. They drew it. I took the mud sill from down there one day alone. I took the mud sill from that other barn up here myself.
That's quite a weight.
Yeah, it's quite a weight, but I done it with a team myself.
Which team was it? Do you remember?
I think it was Nancy and Bob, a black and a cream. They weren't a big team either. But the father told me how I could do it. He wasn't very good at the time. And he told me how you could do it. It was quite a knoll where it was. And there's a wagon. It was not an old thing to put it on. And he said to take and pull it up on the knoll and take the wagon apart, and the front wheels, draw it up so you could get the stick on the two front wheels, and the back two, you just pull the wagon up on the top of it, and chain it up to the axle. It'd just be missing the ground by about that much, and the other end was up on the front wheels. It was a big stick of timber. It was about 18 inches square, and it was about, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 feet long. Quite a chunk of a thing, anyway. But I got that thing myself and took it up here. There didn't happen to be any teams go that day, only myself. And I got it up there and unloaded it. Yeah, I helped quite a bit with the barn. That's where the team worked. I drew all that on the day they had the raise, and I drove the team all the time, drawing timber in for them. And that whatever sticks they wanted, time in, draw them in. Oh, I'd been at different raisins where they, well, not 2 or 3 anyway, that I kind of half knew what you should do or shouldn't do or something.
You learned young.
I learned young. Was another reason to be in 28, I guess it was. I think it would be in 28. And a great big L built to a barn down in McCall's. And it was a big beast of an L. And they'd done it with a gin pole. And I was there, and all those men from all over creation there too. So anyway, this day, it was only me and 2 other men. I was only light at that time. I never was heavy, but I was only light compared to these other men with guy ropes on this gin pole. They had 4 of them. And to keep it from stand up there so it would have to stay there. And they were putting sticks up with block and tackle. And I was pretty light, and they were having quite a job to hold the other two men. We wasn't, and the man that owned, well, he owned the horse, and he was his barn too, one of his brothers too. He said to me, "You come and drive the team." And I says, "I'm a bit heavier than you." He was a man 200. He says, "You drive the team and I'll take the rope." So we did. Well, anyway, when they got it on in the afternoon, and they pinned the whole end of the L all together on the ground. All the sticks together and braces and everything in them. And they pulled them up on beside the wall. The heels was against the wall, and they lifted them up with the block and tackle. The horse we had two team on then, and we got it up that it was standing straight up, and the two teams couldn't hardly take her off the ground. She was too heavy. No, the rope was as high as your head, and a big 2-inch, what they used to call a sailor's rope, 2 inches thick, great big beast of a thing. So anyway, God, these horses couldn't draw, and they said, "Put the bud to them," and God's sakes, these poor horses were doing everything they could. But anyway, somebody got on each side of every horse and got scaring them along, and they were going jumping, taking the sods right out of the ground. And they got it up, and the man was in the barn just walking out to pull it onto the wall when the damn rope broke right at the Doubletrees. Oh, Lord. It went like a shot, and it went down. It drove the post on the ground 3 feet. Nobody got hurt, just by luck that the men hadn't got close enough to get their hands on it. And down she went, and she stood there. She went in the ground far enough, I bet it was 3 feet, that it went in the ground, and it didn't fall or anything. So they dug around it, and then the next thing was to thread that thing. Is a 40-foot pole, tamarack pole, great big thing for the blocks to be fastened to. And the man that framed it, it was his outfit. So what did he do? But he tied that big thundering rope to his waist, and he went up there. He didn't have spurs either, and I don't know how on earth he ever done it, but he went up that pole, and he threaded that thing at the top at 40 feet. Now, I seen that done myself. Now, that's hard to believe, but a great big rope, 40 feet trailing behind you, is a pile of weight.
Did he like shinny up the pole?
Shinnied up the pole. How in the world that man ever done it, I'll never know. But he did. And he threaded them. He had to hang on with one hand and thread it with another one. And there were a double set of blocks. Now, how that man ever done that, I'll never know, but I seen him do it. He must have been as strong as an elephant.
Yes.
But they got it up on the wall. But I minded that day as well as yesterday.
Oh, you wouldn't forget that.
No. It was a good job. Nobody was in the way of that rope. Lord bless it. Oh, it just went like a shot. And it broke right at the Doubletrees on the team I was driving.
And how big did you say the rope was?
2 inches. Big rope. Couldn't get your hand around it.
No.
It is what they call a sailor's rope. Yeah, big, coarse threads on it, like your fingerprint here that wrapped around it. They called it a sailor's rope.
There were a lot of close calls like that.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck?
Good luck.
Good management?
Well, I wouldn't know, but there's good luck was the main thing. Yeah. And then that'll be in the 30s. And then I got to the, I don't know.
You were called on to help with your team several times, often, weren't you?
Yeah, often. And the day went around pretty near lots of times. We had pretty good horses, and we were often called on.
Who would call on you? You were talking about Dr. Milne.
Oh, yeah. He sent Hoy after me to the bush. We were working in the bush this day in my uncle. And he wanted me to come and help him, or drive the car for him. That's in his failing years. And he wanted me to go to drive the car for him to and sound with this man in the car. There wasn't ambulances then like there are today.
No?
No, so I went with him. I never got back till the next day after dinner. Never got home. In the morning, well, we got back to his place that night. Or morning it was, at 5 o'clock. We were just driving into his yard there where that, what's that, Robinson lives?
Yeah.
And we were just driving in the gateway when a man come out of the door, the office. And somebody, the dog had bit some man. And the doctor had to get him dressed up, and he says to me, "You go and lay on the couch." I said, I'll walk home. No, he said, "You won't." He said, "You'll stay till morning." He said, "You go and lay on the Chesterfield there, and I'll doctor this fellow up, and I'll go to bed." And he said, "Don't you leave till I see you in the morning." So anyway, I went, lay down and had to sleep, and he did. He didn't get up, I guess, till 8:30 or 9:15. So we had breakfast, and he said, "Would there be any chance of you going back to Owen Sound?" Well, I said, "I guess I could. I could have to phone home or something, let them know where I was or something." So anyway, I went back to Owen Sound to see how this lad was. He was quite concerned. He didn't know whether he'd make it or not. But anyway, I went back, and he had pulled through, and they figured he was going to anyway unless something else turned up. So I come back, and I think I had my dinner there, and I think Sandy took me home with the team, the cutter. That was that episode. Yeah, anyway. And another time down here, when he was, they'd be here in the 40s. Yes. For Mary's little girl in Elmeda came and stayed with her that summer that we took the hay off. And Elmeda, you used to rake with the team, and Elmeda watched Mary. And a year after that, or 2 years after that, I don't know, wasn't too long anyway. And what in the world? Oh yes, the doctor come in here. What was I doing? Putting the horses in the stable. I'd been doing something with them, I don't know, it'll be sometime in the summer. Maybe it was after harvest. Might have been after harvest, not sure. Sometime anyway. And I just put them in, and he drove in. I guess he'd seen me around, and he was going past, and he drove in. And I was just coming out of the door, and I thought to myself, what's he after? And anyway, he says, "Are you not busy?" I said, "What do you want?" Well, he said, "Mrs. Underhill is not in very good shape. I'm afraid she's taken a stroke, and would you come down and give me a hand to get her out?" I said, "Oh, I guess so." So I just went the way I was, jumped in the car and went down. Sure enough, she was away in the front room. I don't know whether you knew the house or not. There's a big chunk of a house, and the front room way over in the northeast corner. And there was a long hallway, and she was in the bed in this room. And so he says to me, "If you help me get a hold of her, I think I can carry her to the car." Oh, he was a man 200, I guess. Doc Milne was at that time. Maybe a pound or so more, but anyway, he was quite a bit bigger than me. And I said, "You think you can carry her?" "Yes, I think so." He said, "I think I can carry you. Help me get a hold." So I said, "All right." So I helped him get a hold of her, and he got a hold of her, and he started out. I was following him, and he said, "My goodness," he says, "I'm not going to be able to go." He said, "I can't carry her." Well, I said, "There's a couch out there 2 or 3 steps further. If you can get there, get her on the couch." So anyway, he said, "I'll try," and he got to the couch. He got her on the couch, and he said, "What are we going to do with her now?" Well, I said, "I don't know," but I said, "I'm going to give it a try." Oh, he said, "You can't take her out to the car?" Well, I said, "I don't know. I can always try. If I can't, I can quit." Well, I said, "You open the doors." Well, all right, he opened the door, so I picked her up, and he opened the doors, and I put her in the car for him. Well, he said, "You're a lot better man than I thought you was." He says, "I couldn't do it. Just couldn't begin to do it." He said, "I'm a bigger man than you are." That could be, but at that time, I wasn't scared of too much.
Were you younger than the doctor?
Oh, yes. Well, not that much. About 4 years. 3 or 4 years. That was about all the difference there was in our age. It wasn't too much. Yeah. Anyway, he took her to the hospital, and I think she lived a week or so, and she didn't make it. She died. Stroke. Yeah. That would be somewhere between 40 and 45, wouldn't it be? For Elmeda was here when Mary was, I don't know whether she was a year old or what she was. Maybe she wasn't, maybe her first summer. And she stayed with her in the house, and you used to rake hay. That's the time we had 2 stacks of hay. Charlie Huddy built them for us. We had room in the barn.
2 stacks of hay?
Besides the barn full.
The big stacks?
Yes, big stacks. 5 or 6 load, and I mean load. First stack we went to build, Charlie says, how big do you want to make it? And I said, oh, about 5 or 6 loads. All right. He put rails down to put the hay on these rails to keep it off the ground. So we got the first load on, and I was building the loads with the hay loader, and Charlie, and I don't know, there was some more help, and Charlie was building the stack. And at noon, we only, at them days, it was the standard time when you get a load or 2 in before dinner, and then I'd go back at it after dinner. So this day we had one, they had one on the stack, and I had another one for them to put on. So we were coming to our dinner, and Charlie says, I thought you said 5 or 6 loads, and I said, yes. Well, he said, I didn't expect there were haystacks to start with. Well, I said, I don't know that they're haystacks. Well, the one that, the first load they put off was, he took up a long ways, and he said, I don't know where we'll be to get 6 on there, but anyway, he said, we'll do what we can. So they had to make it a bit bigger. We got it in. Then this other field here was to be done. And there was a corner up there, and we made another stack up next to the line fence up there, and Allie McLean bought it, took it away in the wintertime.
Was the hay especially heavy that year?
Oh, we had hay coming out your ears.
The weather conditions?
Oh, good weather, good weather. Good weather, and you had longer hay in season then than you have now. We done it with horses, we had nothing else but horses. In the barn, we had the hay rope to put it off with it, but in the barn you had to be main strength and awkwardness to put it on the stacks. Took a lot of work there, but they got it done. It was good hay. When Allie took it away, was taken away, he thought there wouldn't be that many loads in it. Well, I said, I don't know. So you get at it, you'll see. So there was more hay than he wanted where he got done. It was real good hay, and it was put in good shape. And Charlie Huddy could build a good stack. There was no doubt about it. There wouldn't be a half a load of being wasted. They were good stackers, and that'd be somewhere around 45. And then they got back to, went on to, it'd be 50 when Farquhar had the sale. Then it'd be in 38, 36 that I started to drive the team on the hearse for Watson. 1936, the fall of 36, and then I was with him till, I think it was 52. There was nobody else drove for him but myself in them years.
Mr. Watson was the
Undertaker. Yeah. In Priceville. Where he had the harness shop at that time. And he done undertaker work besides. Yeah.
And then you would come out to the home and pick up the bodies?
And lay them out in the home, too.
What do you mean, lay them out?
Ready for the casket. Take casket and all with you. The whole outfit. Lay them out right in the room where they died.
You dress them up.
Yep. Wash them and shave them and whatever it was, men or women, shave the men and all this kind of thing. Women, they done whatever, fix their hair up and all this kind of thing, dress them.
The rest of the family, or the deceased family would be there.
Oh yeah, they'd be in the house.
Would they help?
But no, God, no. The door would be shut. They wouldn't even look in. No way. But they look in. I've seen us have to take the bed down to get them on the stretcher to lay them out. Small rooms. And windows that wouldn't raise be froze down in the winter time. And there was one place we went one night. It was at night. And holy smoke. We were working in there as a woman. And you take a person that she laid in bed for about 3 months. And the odor is something else. And I couldn't take a lot of that. And I thought, sure, I was going to turn upside down. And Watson says, open the window, and you couldn't open unless you broke it. Well, he said, you go out for a little while and come back in again. So I did. But anyway, we got it done. It'd be sometimes all hours of the night. Maybe the next morning before you'd ever get home.
Well, it seems people very often die at night, don't they?
Well, in this case, she died in the afternoon, but before you get... Now, it was way out towards the Catholic Church, and by the time they got word to Watson, they just drive in and pick out the casket, and then he had to get a hold of me for me to be getting horses down there and load up this outfit before we'd get there. And it didn't do it in 5 minutes, and God knows where I might be when they started looking for me. And you might have not the best of clothes on, you had to change. Maybe get another team of horses or some other blessed thing. We had 3 teams at that time that you could take any one of them. We used to have to take the blacks at the funeral, but the bays that we had, why, we could take them on the first trip. Didn't matter about that, but we always took the blacks when we knew ahead of time when the funeral was going to be. Always, but when they die, you never know. I seen me coming in the lane there when Lizzie, one year when Lizzie Mather was here, said he had, I don't know, smallpox or chicken pox or some blessed thing. She was in bed, and I was drawing cream, and I was coming in from getting rid of the load of cream. It was priceful. And Lizzie was at the woodshed door waving for me. I was wanting on the telephone. So I drove the team over, and she held the lines, and I came to the phone. There was Watson. And you want to know how soon could I be in Priceville? Well, I just got from Priceville. I said, I got these horses to get in and get my dinner. Well, he said, do it as quick as you can and come by. And I had to go way down into Proton. Then that afternoon, and it was the next morning when I got home. Out in the storm all night. So you just get some great old trips.
You did a lot of traveling.
Oh, travel.
It's awful to be poor in those days and have to do these things to make a living.
Well, did you make any money?
Not too much. Get $4 a trip whether go with the undertaker.
When you took the casket out, take it out just
in the hearse.
In the hearse?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. It went out when you went first. If they were there and picked it out or told you what you wanted, and a whole slither of chairs, and a whole lot of other stuff that you had to take. And you'd take that with you, and then you'd bring a bunch of stuff back. Well, I wouldn't know, I shouldn't say this. The cleanings up of everything.
Yes.
You had to bring it back in pails and one thing another and such like, and then the day of the funeral you went out and with the team and everything was there. Maybe you'd take a few extra chairs maybe that day, and then after the funeral was over you had to go to the house and gather up all these chairs and all this equipment and take it into Priceville. God knows where it might be. It might be way down Proton, or it might be way out at the Catholic Church or some other place. So you never knew where you were going to go.
That was a very fancy hearse.
Which the one that they got in Flushing there?
Yes.
I drove that thing, I guess, onlybody that ever did drive it.
Well, thank goodness they have preserved it.
That's what they say, they fixed it up. I drove it the first time, and I guess I drove it the last time. I don't think anybody else ever drove that hearse but me.
It would be on runners in the winter time, wheels in the summer.
No, that didn't take it off the run, never was taken off. He had another one for the summertime, but in them days they had a motor hearse at that time. But then you see they had the runners was on. That sleigh was a Shallow Lake sleigh. He made that thing, got it made. Oh, I started with him in 36, fall of 36. And I said to him, that's a tool of a sleigh as far as I'm concerned. Little weed era runners and short too. And it would just cut into the ground. Oh, a terrible thing to draw. You might as well, I'd sooner draw a load of logs than draw that thing. But anyway, I was complaining about this thing, so one day, a year or two went out by. It'll be before 40 anyway. He says, I'm going to get a sleigh made. Well, I said, for God's sakes, get one of the runners long enough and good enough that it'll ride a lot easier than this thing. So he did, and that's the sleigh. He got it made at Shallow Lake, that sleigh. And I drove that thing the first time, I guess, and the last time it ever was drove. Whatever years it was. But I think it was 50. Last year, I think it would be in 52. I wasn't there many times in 52. They were getting them. They were getting some of them open and such like.
That's when the funeral was held in the home.
Well, sometimes both ways. Sometimes in the home, and sometimes they take them to the church. I can mind of them taking them to the church too.